It's warm. I might need to turn on the air. But we will see. Excuse me. I'm gonna have to keep hitting that. I remember. So, we're in my garage because try to make sure you can't see my neighbor's information because they've got two cars out. I don't think so. I think I got the phone turned, so it shouldn't show. Anyway, we're in my garage because it is raining again, and obviously, you know, I'm not gonna be out in the rain. But we're in my car, so hopefully you can hear the rain. I've got the sunroof open. I've got all the windows open. So hopefully, you know, it will make it nice in here. I also did not turn on my garage light because I'm not trying to encourage insects to come into here. But we'll see. I mean, I guess technically they would be, you know, this light. Oh, I should probably switch it to that. Yeah. Anyway, I'll pray. God, I thank you so much for your love. Thank you for all the things you have done, will do, and are doing. I ask that you please open my eyes and our eyes to hear, in spiritual eyes, to hear anything that we need to hear. If there is anything for us to hear, if not, please silence or just mute it to where you don't even hear it. Amen. All right. So, I am on. I had left off with Jim writing to Bets. Okay, so being in love, he said to her in another letter, was like rediscovering the whole world around him. November 17th. Loving has let me in on a whole new area of poetry. Since high school days, I have regarded love lyrics with some disdain, and that's why I say rediscovery. I learned them academically, not emphatically. Strange how universal love is. I can pick something from nearly every piece and say that belongs to us. Especially did I thrill to First Time He Kissed Me, a sonnet by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. It linked itself immediately with our ride to Franconia that Sunday night. Will I forget how, feigning sleepiness, I crowded you against the clothing hung against the door, how your body stiffened as my hand made its way to being received by your fingers, how the whole of you slackened, and how my fingers were pressed to your lips. Will I forget? Not soon. Excuse this indulgence. I thank my God, life has been made so much more the fuller for his giving me you. I was recounting today, as we rolled the last 300 miles up from Klamath Falls, how rich, how full. I can't find a better word. He has made life for me, sea-like, but having no ebb, no, not at my fingertips. Nature, body, soul, friendship, family, all full for me. And then, what may have not the capacity to enjoy? What many have not the capacity to enjoy. And he said, lacked he anything? They said, nothing. Part of me was lacking until this now. Oh, I needed you. Neither of us knew how sorely. And even now, though I don't have you in the fullest sense, still I do, in a sense I will not when we have known each other. I'm glad that last is still ahead. Glad I'm not jaded by nights in bed with you. I'm glad I still can't quite keep my hands off you, still must be warned not to mess you up. I have you now, unravished, and that is just how I need you now. The schoolboy in me still wonders and is awkward. Experience has not taken the edge off. We will, I suppose, get used to each other, the feel and smell and look of one another, but I am glad is not so now. As never felt before, I feel now that I must keep myself for you. God knows it is a stay to purity, and he knows how many shakings to purity are ahead. I wish I could touch your cheek with my own to say goodbye again, but it is not for now. I am glad it was for once and shall be again, God leading your Jim. Aw. This is true love in high honor. How it makes the heart beat faster to hear it expressed in such strong, innocent purity, and how glad I am that they remained pure as a testimony to Christ's power and the Spirit's control over the relationship. Some of these restrictions annoyed him for obvious reasons, and she too wanted to give in to physical desire. But they knew they each belonged to God alone, that they could give only a portion of their hearts to the other for now, until the time He planned for them to be married. The verse they later chose for their wedding day, Isaiah 25:9, was speaking to them already. Lo, this is our God, we have waited for Him. The fall of 51 was still their waiting time. By Thanksgiving, they were each at home, celebrating with family and guests, thinking longingly of one another, and thinking with renewed clarity on the future. November 22nd. Pete just passed through en route to Seattle. I met him at the bus depot and took him some baggage we brought up in the car. Word from Tidmarsh says that a minister of government who is favorable to us must leave his post December 7th, and that our entry permits must go through him. So now we await word on sailing date in January. The Lord has a certain slow dignity about his movings, which constantly shames my fretting unbelief. He will take us to Ecuador in his own schedule, and it will be neither late nor early, regardless of what we hope or plan. I didn't intend to write news. This was intended to be a release chat with you. I probably won't mail it until I hear of your offers. Oh, 1 second. I'm so sorry. I forgot to turn on my do not disturb. Just one moment. I'll be right back. Hopefully that didn't mess anything up. Okay. Okay, where was I at? Oh, I didn't intend to write news. This was intended to be a release chat with you. I probably won't mail it until I hear of your affairs. I need to get some idea, at least, of being in contact with you this morning, and writing is a help. I needed you yesterday. Wanted you more than four... Sorry, I heard their car. Okay. Hey. I needed you yesterday. Wanted you more than 4 days I have wanted you. The sighs were coming again, the little noiseless cries I feel inside when everything and everybody seems so unrelated to you. Nobody to talk to about you, nothing that brings strong recollection in the whole context. Aww. My Kodachromes, an early brand of Kodak camera film, are a little comfort. The one Pete took of us at the shore, he moved, and though it looks like fair composition, it's hopelessly blurred. The one of you at Great Bay, laying on the sand, you have your eyes shut. The other with you standing in the little sand pit with the salt flats behind, is overexposed. I abuse myself mercilessly for not taking more pictures of you. Incidentally, I have nothing suitable to carry with me for demonstration and remembrance. Maybe your mother would show mercy and take some shots of you in that green suit, the one you wore when I saw you last. Oh. Let me tell you honestly, Betty, I love the look of you. My favorite of you now is a wallet size of a tower shot, the Wheaton College yearbook. You are in a dark suit and have a white flounce at the neck and look straight at me. The larger one in 49 looks off to the side. I wonder if you are conscious of averting your eyes in many of those Franconia passions when I looked straight into them. One time in particular, I remember you rolled your head clear away to look into the fire when I wanted to face you. Please don't feel that way. I like the look of you. I'm glad that I love more in you than looks, so that if I went stone blind, I would still have love. But your looks are not disconnected from it. Love you for love's sake only? Not exactly. For love's sake, yes, but for dozens of other things too, and not the least of which is every dear remembrance of your face, the grace of your forehead, the clearness of your eyes. But oh, that cavern mouth with all its intensity of longing. Ever Jim. Oh my gosh. I don't think he knew what to make of himself these days. Brash and bold for Ecuador, yet weak in the knees for my mother. How had this happened? He wondered candidly in his journal. To me, Jim Elliot? November 20th. Frightens me to think of finally leaping over all the old barriers I've raised against marriage. Is it to be, after all, the conventional life of rugs and appliances and babies? Is Paul's example of single intensity beyond me? Am I, at last, not one of those who make themselves eunuchs for the kingdom's sake? I feel no bitterness, but a sense of regret at losing all the good liberties God has allowed me until now, should I make the promise. No settlement in my mind one way or another, though I feel strongly that for my own stability, for Betty's ease, and for most folks' tongues, I should buy a ring. Lord, which way? Thou hast heard the desire of the meek, thou wilt prepare the heart. Psalm 10:17. What shall I say to all the liberty I've been given to preach adherence to Pauline method, even to single men working in the field and illustrating it from Pete's intention and my own? Rather, what will men think who have heard me say I go single in the will of God, when if I were really engaged, my plans would be otherwise? Well, it is in God's hands. He gave me direction to speak that way, and after all, an engaged man is still single, but proposing to be married. And Paul would have me free of care. Did he ever love a woman? Or ever lust for a woman? Let's not pretend that my father was above the temptation. Yet in response to it, he did what all godly men and women must do when accosted by strong, unholy thoughts. He called them out, considered it war, and made his impassioned pleas that God would be his strength to endure. November 22nd. My God in heaven, how am I made? Oh, that I had never tasted a woman at all. That thirst for her should not be so intense now, remembering. It is not good that man should be alone. Not this man, anyhow. Frightfully depressed this whole day, a sense of inner wrong from defeated thinking from lust which warred against the soul. A day when things did not go well, all things seemed to betray me and nothing satisfied. A day in the presence of demons, crafty, cruel demons who fight under camouflage. God deliver. Oh, take me to thy ways of escape. Much of this, the intensity of it at least, was new to him, with my mother featuring more prominently than ever in his future. The approaching unknowns had become freshly hard to contemplate. November 23rd. I feel now as though it may mean 5 years of single life yet. These next 5 resilient years when I will most want her, most need her, and better to be able to satisfy her. These years I see in the plan now must be spent alone. Perhaps I'm wrong in planning in terms of years, but a man can't feel the lustihood of his young powers, swell and surge inside him and not be affected by restraining them. It may be that he hasn't planned to make us wait 5 years, but it certainly looks from here that it can't be any less. December 6th. What will it be like in Ecuador? God, make me to forget. I remember too keenly to endure much retrospect. Passion bordering on frenzy grips me at times. Not always, thank heaven, but often enough to make any denial of her for the work's sake a very real, poignant thing. In this just now, I feel more than anywhere that the Lord's, in this just now, I feel more than anywhere the Lord Jesus' requirement except a man forsake. Well, thank God for the privilege of giving aught up for his sake. But I know from this present sense of need that I cannot do so forever. Or perhaps, if he requires that, he will teach me disciplines of desire, something I am not now acquainted with. Yet, when buffeted by conflicted feelings, by struggles within himself, as well as expectations placed upon him by others, he returned as always to the sure word of God. November 29th. My refuge is in Jehovah, whom I have asked to preserve me from now and always. He is the portion of my inheritance and of my cup. Thou maintainest my lot. My going to Ecuador is God's counsel, as is my leaving Betty, as is my refusal to be counseled by all who insist I should stay and stir up the believers of the U.S. And how do I know it? It is his counsel. Yea, my heart instructeth me in the night seasons. Oh, how God, for I have known that, my heart speaking to me for God. And so I sense that I may share the Christ's words. I have set Jehovah always before me. He is at my right hand. I shall not be moved. Acts 2:25. Not moved, with all the awful pressure of inward desire to move me to lust. Not moved with all demonic hatred to move me to fear and doubt. Not moved. Not moved. And my mother, with her face equally set on following God going forward, would not be moved either. She courageously entered the next open door he presented to her in presentation for going to Latin America during short-term work with the Spanish Assembly in New York City. My father had made the connection. Luis Montalvo, a Spanish brother who was a leader among the brethren there. They have an apartment ready for me, my mother wrote on November 25th, and Mr. Montalvo is going to teach me Spanish, while she worked in their ministry office, known as Voices from the Vineyard. Within a week from after Thanksgiving, she was situated for this next chapter of life. November 28th. Imagine me living in a tenement in Brooklyn. More fun. But here I am in bed alone in a little flat in the Spanish section. The Lord is here and I am happy. Mother brought me over and we spent last night with Anne at Shelton. The memories there simply tore me to pieces. Oh, how I miss Jay. We had such a perfect 3 days together. Oh, that word together there. And I kept seeing him in all the old familiar places. Tonight I went to Montalvo's for dinner. Rice, beans, chicken soup, corn, and some sort of chicken boiled in a kind of tomato mixture. Everything vaguely flavored with garlic. And then to the Baptist temple for prayer meeting. O Lord, a new phase of my life. Have absolute control. I have prayed. If thy presence go not up with me, carry me not up hence. Be thou hast carried me here, so I know thou art with me. Let me not miss a single lesson or blessing thou hast for me here. The first lesson was loneliness and culture shock. November 29th, lonely. What do missionaries do who go to the foreign field alone? Here I have friends nearby, but I feel very much alone. The atmosphere is not conducive to bright spirits. I have been cold ever since I got here, with the exception of a few minutes in a hot bath, heated water on the stove this afternoon. And now I have on my winter coat and feel okay, except for cold feet. The place is so filthy, too. I have tried to clean up, but got only so far as the kitchen and the bathtub. Had a Spanish lesson this a.m. with Mr. Johnson, formerly of Venezuela, who was staying with Don Luis. Had lunch there, cooked by Don Luis, and washed up the messy dishes. Came home and studied little, very little. I haven't the heart to apply myself. O Lord, be not far from me. Make haste to help me. My father's letters to her became true lifelines. She described her hunger for them in this early December letter she wrote from Brooklyn, December 5th. Few of your letters have been so eagerly torn open as your last, Jim. I was working in the Voices office when Don Luis called, wondering where I was, and telling me there was a letter for me which had been there since Friday. It was Monday afternoon, and I had been away all weekend. So I had the rest of the afternoon to wait, then the long, dark ride on subway and elevated. Then I had to rush to a meeting without a chance to call out Montalvo's first. Finally, I got it, and my hopes were fulfilled. It was yours. Well, seated alone in my little living room, I gave myself to your letter. I was with you once more, at peace, conscious of your love, the utter wonder of it all. I do not deny that I am sometimes lonely here, surrounded entirely by foreigners, with not even a tree to relieve the oppression of filthy walls. But the Lord has given me many kinds of balm, not the least of which is your love, which seems to be now so matured and established. It says, as my mother ate in this restaurant, she remembered their perfect 3 days together at Shelton College, a Bible institute in New York City. Indeed, his love had become so. It had grown deeper and more unselfish, if that's possible when one desires another so much, as these two did. Even his tone of voice had changed. At the beginning of their correspondence, he generally wrote with exhortation and rebuking. He spoke to her more as he spoke to all at Wheaton, where he was known for sternly challenging others to stay the course and seek first the kingdom, to leave behind the worldly pursuits of natural man. But now his words were tender and loving, gracefully expressed. Where he once had scoffed at her militant morality, he now thanked her for refraining from intimacies you have wisely withheld from me. Where he once had felt honor bound to specify his parents' initial criticisms on her character and appearance, he now felt ashamed at how unkind he'd been in passing along their views so heartlessly. November 28th. Got to browsing old letters again for a few minutes today. Yours of the fall of 49, particularly that one written after you were here, seems so far away. What a heartless letter mine must have been, describing the folks' reaction to you. I really wonder at myself being able to write so. I think I could not bring myself to do it now, even if occasion demanded. Now this, Betty, know this. So see, look at this. God did that. Know this, Betty, that my longing for you is begetting a tenderness that makes me think I could never be unkind to you or speak sharply. Hearing the petty bickering of married folks annoys me, and I wonder if they can know what I know now of tenderness. Remind me of this in years to come, if they are granted us. And remember that you've been loved with a love that is all softness by Jim. Almost doesn't sound like the same man, does it? Nor did the place where she was reading his letter feel like home. December 5th. As far a cry from birdsong, the apartment is about 5 blocks from Montalvo's, sandwiched in between the Rheingold breweries and the Hungarian pickle works. All around are typical East Side tenements, with their rusted fire escapes, broken stone steps, bedding drooling from the windowsills, etc. This building is no exception. The smell of boiled cabbage, garlic, rusted steam pipes, and crumbling plaster greets me each time I labor up the 5 flights of dank stairway, utterly removed from anything I have ever known. The sights and sounds made thoughts of him all the sweeter. I dreamed the other night. I dreamed the other night that you came east again for some business matter before sailing, and I guess I dream of you every night. But when I awake, it is rather like the end of a roll of movie when it starts flapping, and one catches instantaneous glimpses of a picture here and there in the sputtering grayness. So now I go gladly to bed, for I may dream again. Note their context and mindset as 1951 draws toward a close. My mother was adjusting to a whole new set of living conditions amid the complex challenges of trying to learn and master a different language. My father was barely a month away from his sailing date, hustling to make preparations while dealing with the permanence of leaving home, this time for good. Naturally, with the setting as backdrop, the interplay of their letters became all the more serious, hungry, and heartfelt. Jim, December 7th. Tomorrow, your last letter will be 2 weeks old. I can almost quote it every day since Saturday. I've been of no use at all between 10 and 11:30 a.m., the hour of the mail's arrival, usually, and every day the big stack of mail, checked through twice, with no signs of the fine scripted envelope that means so much to me now. Elizabeth, December 9th. There is always a special thrill in the unexpected, ergo the time you called from New York just because you were hungry, or the one time I was alone in the kitchen of Franconi and you came around the porch in the dark. Your letter of November 28th and the other dates subsequent was one of those. I mailed a letter to you on Thursday. Jim. There was a time when I could pass off not hearing by saying to myself, forget it, you can get along, you don't need word. That's no solace now. I feel that I do need word, that somehow I can't get along. Before it would have been possible to harden my thoughts and go on. Now that's impossible. Even if I want to be tough, there's a tenderness. Elizabeth. Sorry, it makes me emotional because I think that's beautiful. Okay, Elizabeth. I opened your letter. Oh. Just in case I was vague, how now he can never envision anything other than being tender to her. Again, nothing here. Elizabeth. Elizabeth, I opened your letter on the subway into New York, in spite of the sad, stupid, hard, or blank faces around me, and the roar and swing of the train. I was once more carried away out of myself, and I felt that I was with you. And where do you suppose I emerged from the subway? 59th Street, Columbus Circle. It was almost too much for me. I walked down 8th Avenue, remembering that Thursday morning in the Hotel Park Sheridan, Central Park, Columbus Circle. Jim, your copy of A.C.'s poem was fitting. But from thy briar shall bloom a rose that is for others. I am asking that it will be so for you there, Betty, amid the cabbage smell and the crumbling plaster and all. It would drive me mad thinking of you alone there, dreaming about me in the darkness. Did I not know that roses bloomed on briars? Oh. Elizabeth, it never ceases to amaze me, the incompleteness I feel. I, who was of all women most independent and proud of it, I wanted you beside me, your strong arm to hold, just to fill your sleeve and know that you were there. Jim, I dreamt about you last night. Coming home last evening and reading your letter before I slept was like coming home to you, almost. You came to me in bed, serious and shivering. I made you laugh and warmed you with my body. Such things are seldom, and I enjoyed it because it seemed good and right and not much like a dream. Your letter did it, your talk of holding my arm and of being cold there in apartment 15. I wish I could be there to share your little stew and fill your evenings sharing other things. All this week I've been thinking of reasons for loving you, and the Lord has counseled me. I like to remember that he gave you to me. You guys, I think I'm gonna, this has nothing to do with here. It touches on things, and I just don't feel like doing it. And I've been redoing the other devotional, and oh, well, I guess this would be it. Not to avoid. This is taking so long, though, because of me having emotional moments. The last 2 days, not yesterday, because I've been reading it at nighttime, but the day before. So the day before, in the 40-day of decrease, it was letting things be broken and not trying to fix it. And then last night was avoidance. What things do you do when you avoid, like when, you're uncomfortable or whatever? I forgot what it all said. And although I have not been avoiding, I just rather not have another emotional moment. I just don't want to. And so to express, I think it's beautiful when people love each other this way. How romantic. And, obviously we know that he ends up passing. But what a beautiful thing to have been a part of, to have had this kind of love. That's beautiful. And that's what makes me emotional. To be so loved by somebody. So, back to them. Again, nothing to do with here. It's just, I guess, healing in real time. And I think what started it was that she's like, me, independent. and that this person that she's chosen to be vulnerable with and not, her I can do all things self, it's reciprocated and it's beautiful. Again, nothing to do with here, just anywho, back to them. I hope that made sense. I'm just trying to express myself. All this week I've been thinking of reasons for loving you, and the Lord has counseled me. I like to remember that he gave you to me. You are his own gift, granted in mercy, and all wisdom of his choosing. Given, not deserved, scarcely asked for, never merited, but given in grace, without my hardly lifting a finger even to woo you. Without my knowing what I needed, or even that I needed, he selected you for me and gave. This, among many other thoughts, has strengthened me in love, for as nearly always I see illustrating the truth concerning Christ and the church. Does not he enjoy speaking to his Father about those that were given to him in John 17? And this is motive for his prayer and concern. The church was a bestowal upon Christ directly from God. Does it seem too strong to say that you have been such to me? No. May our love be all that eternity makes it to mean. Elisabeth. Oh, may God grant that the bond which is even now so pure and strong may be tempered to even greater purity and strength by his living grace. Let us never resign ourselves to the trivialities of the commonplace. Familiarity need never breed contempt. Deeper, fuller union with Christ only augments our wonder and our adoration, so let it be. Good night, Jim, dear friend. That latter part, was Elisabeth. I have often hearkened back to her telling me of their love, their delight, and the consuming fire of longing, and I am forever grateful for this perfect plan of a romance which God created. How much sweeter hearing her say the same things in real time as their love was happening. December 14th. A letter came from Jade this morning with a fine picture of him. Funny, others think of him as handsome. I only know it is it is the face I love, the dear features that haunt every dream of every night. Dear man, tender, strong, kind. Can it be that his love is really for me? We are thine, O Lord and Master, forever only thine. Yeah, God is good. But as Christmas came, the longing part was that what she felt more strongly than anything else. December 23rd, the whole family is at home now for the first time at Christmas since 1947. And in 47, there was one other here with us, Jim. The rest of the family is basking in its utter completeness. I, for the first time in just this way, feel my incompleteness. This morning, as we gathered in the living room for family worship, I was so overwhelmed with the longing for Jay, tears came. He had sent the family some lovely Oregon evergreens and holly. They were all about us to remind me of him. And I thought of how he had told me once that he knew, oh, how well he knew what it was to see others about him happy in marriage and to long for me. I suppose, really, that I am writing this journal in some sense for him. At least, that is the way it seems now. It has not been conscious, but perhaps I am recording some of the things I wish I could say in my letters to him, but cannot. Why can I not say them in letters? Because we are not engaged. I'm not sure if that is true. This is true. That is, I'm not sure if it is all the reason or the real reason. And I shall never feel that I can fully express myself to him until, or unless, Lord, grant that in thy will it may be until we are engaged. But I love him now. I love him. And it is so strong, constant, and pure. Therefore, it is of God. Love is of God. I should say, it is of God, and therefore it is strong, constant, pure. I cannot say these things to anyone, so I feel that I must write. Oh, I wonder how long it will be before I can say them, release them to him, beloved man, dear Jim. Sight and hearing, these two be in God, not like in man. Let me start over. Sight and hearing, these two be in God, not like in man, but we hear what's heard, heedless, where hearing is not. Views were I in all her pilgrimages, long and probing sharp, has not yet guessed that being is. Jim Elliot. Doesn't that sound I think too is touching on like a dream. Reading that kind of love, that's the dream. So I think it was just touching on that. Okay. Love waits again. Elisabeth, January 2nd, New York. Alone once more in my little apartment. It is dreary with rain outdoors, and I feel how sad this world really is. Truly a vale of tears with nothing but meeting and parting and much sorrow and suffering. I think of dear mother at home, alone now after a happy Christmas with all the family as I look forward to my departure for the field. It is very hard to think of what it will mean to her. The Lord alone can sustain us. This being alone is an awful thing to me. I do not know why. I was the same when I spent 3 weeks alone in a trailer in Alberta. There is an overwhelming sense of uselessness and a pale of darkness that seems to veil his lovely face. Just now I read in Psalm 90:15, "Make us glad according to the days wherein thou hast afflicted us." I have asked the Father for his joy and peace. Just now I feel very close to tears. There is that tightness in my throat, and I feel that if I try to speak, I shall cry. I know that in reading over this entry later on, I shall say, what a way to begin a new year. But I am honest, and after all, what is one day above another? Time means something to God. He is with me all days. My desire for 1952, the prayer over my heart, oneness with the Lord. She would not dissolve into that veil of tears that she'd seen others do. She often used that same expression with me, not dissolving into a veil of tears, when I experienced hurt and disappointment growing up, because as she helped me see, it wouldn't do any good. If my faith was deeply affirmed and taught by the scriptures, I could be assured the Lord was in charge. He was with me, and nothing could separate me from his love. And she could say it with such confidence because she had so often put it into practice after reading his word. I am sure she faced this difficult beginning of the year with her usual stoicism and desire to do only what pleased God, not herself. Yes, waiting on his timing and direction, as she was currently doing, is probably the hardest thing he asks of a true disciple. But as 1952 dawned, despite not knowing what her departure for the field would look like, she knew his word would hold true, and she would accept it, whatever it meant. This was the year in which being a missionary would become more than a mere concept to her and my father. Being a missionary would now become a living reality. What would it mean for them? How would it change them? In late December, she had lamented in her journal from this same lonely New York apartment. I have been here 3 weeks today, and have visited not one family with the gospel. My conscience, I guess it is my conscience, condemns me constantly. Somehow I cannot bring myself to do it. I am afraid, for one thing, of what I hardly know. Is this direct, deliberate disobedience? Am I defeated, Lord? Undertake. Show me what to do. Give me power or love or both or whatever it is I need. I know that to do anything in my own strength, even if it solves my conscience because I'm doing something for the Lord, is worse than useless. And here I am, a prospective missionary. The truth, as she'd written to my father between Christmas and the New Year. I think often we prospective missionaries get a false idea that somehow everything is going to be different on the field, including ourselves. Not so. Granted, there will be much that is different in our environment, many adjustments necessary. Let us not minimize these. But on the other hand, it is the same presence and power that accompanies and indwells us, the same necessity for drawing from the source. And as old Pike used to say, you're stuck with yourself. It is the same sad, sweet, stinking self that we shall have to deal with. And the more trying the circumstances, the sadder, the sweeter, the more stinking the self. Oh, Jim, what a tremendously serious thing, this missionary business. Simply the mechanics of it, if nothing else, the logistics of it, the decisions to be made, traveling by air or by sea, leaving from the city, the shots, the permits, the paperwork, and what to take, what kind of clothes, what kind of cooking equipment, and books and bedding and everything. That's what my father was finalizing right at this moment, engrossed in his last packing. January 15th. Your letter came a week ago today, and I have only had time to look at it 3 times. I opened it with the end of the paintbrush with which I was lettering my name and destination on my packing barrels. Wednesday, more packing. Thursday, all the stuff has to be taken to the dock and billed for leaving. I ended up with 2 steel barrels, best way to pack anything, 2 wooden crates, 2 foot lockers, and a wardrobe trunk, 7 pieces, 1,400 pounds. I hope you will do better. I hope you will do better. Pete only had 900 pounds. I had most of the heavy stuff, slides and recorder, tubs and guns, pots and kettles and dishes. Quite a challenge, but of all the needed preparations, none was more valuable, they knew, than hearing from the Lord, staying spiritually sensitive, remaining deeply in prayer. 1 second. It's going to get too far. It's already 41 minutes. Okay, you guys, I'm going to leave it there. Okay. This is not splitting up very well. Hopefully I can get it done this week. But thank you so much for your time and attention. I really, 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 really appreciate you. Do you want me to come back? I need you to let me know. Okay. Love you. Bye.